What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode today of the My Player Career Mode. Can I still call it the My Player Career Mode, or should I call it Ben's Player Career Mode? I don't know. Anyways, let's get on to today's episode. We've got a few games to come, and actually, we're going to be kickstarting our Europa League knockout phase. That's what I meant to say. With Spurs, of course, and they actually pulled Sporting CP, as you may or may not know from the previous episode. If you don't, then where have you been? However, they are going to be playing the first leg of that in today's episode, and you guys will have to wait until the next one in order to see whether or not Spurs will be through the first round of the knockout phases in the Europa League. So that should be quite interesting, to say the least. I'm looking forward to it. For you guys at home watching this, I don't know exactly how many episodes you guys have watched previously, because basically, if you don't know who Ben is, then you've been living under a rock, because Ben, as you saw in the previous video, which I titled, "Is Ben the best Premier League player currently?" or something like that. I don't know how I actually titled it, because I'm recording this straight after I upload that one, so the title of that yet to come. So for any comments left on that episode, of course I can't read out and get your guys' feedback or anything, because that video hasn't gone live as I'm recording this one, but then Ben is having a very good season indeed, and he's looking to continue that, and he's on course actually to possibly win, I would say, the Player of the Year for this Premier League season, especially if Spurs win the league. I would seriously consider Ben for that Player of the Season. But this first game against West Ham, guys, in the Premier League, was one of the most boring games, I think, of football I have seen in this series so far. Literally, there was one chance, and it fell the way of Harry Kane, who hit the post. West Ham did the job. They defended against Spurs and didn't concede, which is basically what they had to do in order to get a point. I don't think they're ever going to kind of, I'd say, beat Spurs, because Spurs at the moment, with the defensive record they've got, it's very tough to play against them. But in all seriousness, for a game like that, it was fairly boring. The chances that were shown were only half chances, really, that other than the one that, of course, Kane hit the post from. A few of them were straight at the goalkeeper, fairly easy saves, and a couple of them were just not very good at all over the top of the crossbar. So, first game comes to a close already, and it was one of the more kind of, I would say, worst performances that Spurs have put in this season. So at the moment, they're looking okay. They're still top of the table with 14 league games to go. That is right, guys. There's only 14 more league games in order to see whether or not Ben will be crowned a Premier League champion. A few episodes ago, of course, we're not in the January transfer window anymore in this series now. We are now into February. But a few episodes ago, we were in the transfer window. And if you remember, DJ Wood, myself, having tweeted, or was it Facebook post? Yeah, Facebook post about the fact that PSG, of course, have had somewhat a quiet window. Now, I read your guys' comments from that video, of course, taking a look at them, and there's a few ones that I was interested in and intrigued to kind of look at. Now, for the sake of it, I'm not going to tell you what the plan is later on down the line for the series and stuff, but just know for sure, at the end of this season, there may be some big news coming in regards to Ben and his career. You'll have to wait and see. I don't want to spoil it, and I don't want to build it up just yet, but of course, right now, you guys are entertained and hopefully enjoying the series. Give it a thumbs up if you guys are. I know you guys are absolutely incredible. All the support you guys give me is always amazing. I know a lot of you guys are here right from when this video goes live on a 4 o'clock upload straight from school. And I know you guys enjoy this series, and I am very appreciative of all the support that you guys give me. It's crazy. Never expected to see so many of you all liking, commenting, and I really do appreciate it so much, guys. It really is great. So, moving into the second game now for Ben, and it is going to be Watford here at Wembley Stadium. It's been somewhat of a bad start to the episode, but hopefully we will improve on that front, and hopefully we can start this one a little bit better here against Watford, as Spurs did actually have the first chance. It was a header at the back post, but it was fairly easy for Lafont to save. Nothing really too difficult about that. And then into the second half, guys, again, it was a bad performance from Spurs again. They weren't really creative enough in either of the games you've seen so far, but a great pass through from Ben, and then a lovely worked move. They've gone from no creativity whatsoever to one of the most creative goals they've probably scored in the series so far. Great work from all the team, really getting involved in that one. Ben originally picking up the ball after a few passes were played between a couple of defenders and a midfielder, and then he plays a lovely through ball out to the right-hand side. The ball then goes inside to, I think, Son. Son is there, and he just simply taps it straight to Janssen, who is played onside by number 13 there on the bottom of your screen. It was a simple task after he got in. Lafont could do nothing about it, and I'm sure for the French goalkeeper, he'll be very disappointed in his defenders there, because maybe, just maybe, he shouldn't have been in that position to score, Janssen. So, disappointing from a Watford perspective, but thank God from a Spurs perspective, because I tell you what, they're looking very shaky at the moment. Two very poor performances in the way of creativity in this episode so far, and it's not good when you're moving into a Europa League game to come here against Sporting CP. So they're definitely going to have to improve before they move into that game, because otherwise they might be in with a really, really tough afternoon there. So you can see the results has gone Spurs' way. In terms of the other results, though, Chelsea beat Arsenal 2-1, so they do win their game and do keep the pressure on Spurs. City to play Southampton later on. Of course, at the moment, it is Spurs top, Chelsea second, United third, and City fourth, I do believe. So, yeah, we're looking at a very kind of average, realistic top four, if you will. And I'm sure it is going to go right down to the wire to see who can take the Premier League crown. I'm hoping it's going to be Ben and Spurs, because of course we want Ben to win a trophy in his first season. And at the moment, as I said, he's on track to win 4, because he's got the Carabao Cup final to come, the Premier League. He's also still in the FA Cup, and Spurs are also in the Europa League, of course. So, yeah, it should be quite, I guess, a successful season if they can keep this going, Spurs. But, of course, it's not going to be easy. They've got a long way to go if they are playing in all 4 of the competitions. Bearing in mind, Ben's already played like 40 games this season, and still Spurs are still playing games. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy when you consider the fact that there's only 38 in a Premier League season, and we're not even at that stage yet, and Ben's already played 40. So there's every chance he may break the 60-game barrier, which I think I've only ever done once in the FIFA 17 my play that we had with my pro. So yeah, pretty crazy to see. But Sporting CP, the next opponents, as I said, now we're going to see if Ben has the capability to carry Spurs in Europe, or if he will fall short when it comes and it actually matters. Let's find out. Ben, left-hand side, 7 minutes into the game, whips a nice ball in towards the middle. Great defending, though, from the Sporting CP man. Eventually, they give the ball straight back to Spurs, though, as Ben picks this. Oh, sorry, no. Ben tries to pick the ball up and goes flying in with a tackle. And, yeah, less said about this, the better, really, because that could have quite easily, if on another day a different referee, he might have sent Ben off there for that tackle. So, bad challenge, but I think it was more about him trying to win the ball, and he realised that, hang on a minute, he might have been just a bit late. You can see he's already sliding when the man's got the ball, and the pass then comes away, and I suppose he can't pull out of the slide, and that's probably why he's continued through with it, and that is why he's been booked there as well. So, Sporting CP, I've already got Ben on a booking. Let's hopefully not get him sent off in this one. Good cross towards the middle, but great defending in the end from Marcelo. Denied Sporting CP an opportunity to make the score 1-0. I had a feeling this game was going to be quite close and quite hotly contested, because both these teams, you know, are going to try and work each other out and see what they're about, because, of course, they've not played against each other yet this season, and both teams will spend the entirety, probably the 90 minutes, just trying to feel their opponent out and see what they're going to do tactics-wise. But Ben did have a chance, and maybe should have done better with it. He wasn't that far out, and he's just kind of lashed at it. He had a bit more time than he probably was thinking there. And as we went into the second half, with 20 minutes to go, and he's playing at a really poor match rate. He had a really bad game, actually, and I'm sure if you're a critic now, and as I was saying in a previous episode about him probably being the best player in the Prem, as he has a good run there, but it's well defended again by the Sporting CP man. And eventually he's taken off, and Eriksson replaces him with 15 minutes to go. And, yeah, talking about the fact that I said he was one of the better players in the Prem, if you're a critic now, you're looking at that and saying, hang on a minute, he may be good in the Premier League, but he's proven a point because he can't do it in Europe, as Eriksson goes close there, and it would have just kind of made even worse for Ben if Eriksson had scored that one, because it would have been so bad for him, wouldn't it, in terms of personal, I guess, performances. But it would have been nice for Spurs to score that. Sadly, not quite the outcome of that one. And after 90 minutes on the clock, Spurs one more opportunity. Jonas into Sanchez, and they went on to all-out attack. Nice ball across the face of goal. The sliding man in there in the area is well saved by the goalkeeper. So, yeah, another disappointing performance, not from Spurs in general, because they did create a couple of opportunities, but from Ben, he didn't have the greatest game. And as I said, for critics, they're going to be right on his back now, and they'll be talking about the fact that he probably can't play very well in Europe, even though he's only played badly in one game. So I'm sure second leg, if he is picked for it, he'll try his best at Wembley and try and turn this around, because that just simply was not good enough. And I'm sure he knows that. You know, you've got to take into consideration, he's not stupid. He knows what he's doing, and I'm sure a lot of the time when he has these poor performances, he'll look to bounce back in the best way possible. So for his season, it's been great for that performance there, and maybe one other one in today's episode. Not so fantastic, but at least for Spurs, they do take a 0-0 aggregate game, and they have the home leg. But what it does mean, of course, is that they can't concede an away goal now, because if they do, they'll have to win the game no matter what. A draw will not be enough. So it has its pros and cons there. A 0-0, of course, they've avoided defeat. You know, they're not taking a deficit into the next game. But what it does mean is because they have the home leg, if they do get scored on, away goals are important in these fixtures. So, yeah, has its pros, has its negatives, I guess. And now we have the 4th North London derby of the season. You are hearing that correct. I said in a previous episode, I was like, this is the 3rd time Arsenal and Spurs are playing against each other. And if they match each other in the FA Cup, that will be 4. By some miracle, they have matched each other in the FA Cup 5th round. It's crazy. The RNG, the luck gods are upon us. We are going to have 4 North London derbies in one season. Mind-blowing. So, the last 3 that have been played have gone the way of Spurs, of course, in terms of that one. Arsenal haven't managed to win any of the North London derbies that we've played so far in this series. Can they turn it around on the final one and knock Spurs out of the FA Cup? I'm sure they'll want to win the last one of the season, and they will have the fans right on their backs here, especially at home. They've gone with the 5 at the back. You can see it on the screen. Ozil, Lacazette and El Neni. Oh, sorry, Ozil, Lacazette and Sanchez. What am I talking about, El Neni? He is playing, but he's not part of the front 3 because it'd be pretty stupid to have Ozil, Lacazette and El Neni as the front 3. Just take no notice of me, guys. However, Spurs also have a very strong team as well. So this is going to be a very interesting game indeed. Can Arsenal get redemption for the last 3 defeats they've had to Spurs? Or are Spurs going to make it 4 out of 4, 100% win rate? Let's find out. 19 minutes on the clock. Ben, great run down this left-hand side. He's up against an Arsenal defender. Good cut back, though, with a stop and turn. Finds its pass back, was actually to Heung-min Son. Gets it back from him. And a nice little, I guess, interchangeable passing play. Eventually finds his way into the middle. Tries to whip a crossing. Couldn't quite find a teammate. But for some reason, the Arsenal man, I think it was Mustafi, tries to bring it down in the area. It falls straight to Son. He has one chance to strike his volley goalwards, and it was a golden volley as well. Lovely finish from Son, and it made the score Arsenal 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. It was really, really, really clinical from Son, I have to admit. Not a lot of power, more about the placement with the side of his foot rather than hitting it with the laces. Goes for the placement and Cech can't get near it. Top corner, top class, top quality. It's 1-0 to Spurs in the game. Are Arsenal heading for a 4th defeat this season in North London derbies? Or have they got what it takes to turn this game around? Let's find out in this last bit of the game now. That's the 23rd minute, I think it was, so a long way to go. And we're still in the first half here as Spurs create another opportunity. Harry Kane and Eriksen keeping the ball well. Eventually finds its way to Fabinho. Gives it off to Ben. Ben finds Son. Son continues his run. Eventually gives it back to Ben. Lovely interchangeable play between these two. And Ben just wanted that one more than the Arsenal defenders in all seriousness. The initial shot was blocked, but he rises like a salmon to reach the header. And luckily for Arsenal, it comes off the crossbar. So Ben very, very nearly making that 2-0. But Arsenal hit the crossbar themselves. Lacazette through to Lamar. Lamar back to Lacazette. And it ends up hitting the crossbar. And on another day, that might have hit Lloris and gone in off him. But luckily it doesn't for Spurs. And they are now heading for their 4th victory in North London derbies this season. I don't really know what to make of that. Because if you're an Arsenal fan, this would not be acceptable. You would be screaming from the rooftops about the fact that Arsenal have lost 4 out of 4 North London derbies to Spurs this season. So, my question for you guys is, do you think that the 4 defeats that Arsenal have had this season in North London derbies, do you think that all 4 of those have been down to the fact that Ben is on this Spurs team? You know, has Ben carried Spurs within those 4 victories in North London derbies? Or do you guys think that Spurs would have had those games regardless, even if Ben wasn't playing? So, I'm sure there's going to be people who say yes. I'm sure there's going to be people who say no. And for an Arsenal fan myself, I'm disappointed with the fact that Arsenal have lost all 4. But for the sake of the series and for the sake of Ben, I'm glad that he's playing well in the games and that Spurs are winning games. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, it's disappointing. And as an Arsenal fan, after that, I would be screaming probably for Wenger out with the aspect of that one. Because, again, you know, you can't lose 4 North London derbies in a season and still be within a job, I would say. But hey-ho, it is what it is. And that is where we end today's episode off. I'm showing you guys a squad report. You can see, I won't show you all of the players. I'll just show you the main guys and show you how they've been getting on. Of course, we can see Eriksen there. Pretty decent return this season. Son with 8 goals as well. Ben's had a hand in 30 goals in 37 appearances in all competitions this season for Spurs. Of course, a few of those have been at international level as well. The extras that you are seeing when you go back on the main page. So that's why they're not in there. Harry Kane only scored 12 goals this season. 4 in the league, 5 in the Europa League and 3 in the Carabao Cup. So not the greatest return for him so far. Definitely needs to improve on that front. But today, guys, that's where we're going to end the episode off. No double upload tonight. As you know, I'm away right now at my other parents' house in real life. Got some stuff that's come up, so I'm doing that right now. So hopefully you guys understand. I will hopefully see you all again with another double upload tomorrow on Saturday at 4 p.m. If not, there'll definitely be a video at 4 p.m. though. So make sure you guys hit that bell. Never miss an upload. And I'll catch you all tomorrow at 4, guys. Thank you so much for your continued support on the channel. Really appreciate it. Catch you all tomorrow. Adios!